Shalom, call halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors to the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, the would-be judges, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, among the heathen nation that be like unto the speckled bird, that have the appearance of those heathen. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And as you can see on the screen, saying we're about to see a mass regional war if Israel doesn't stop. And this is a statement by Colonel Douglas McGregor. They're not going to stop, and they're going to draw America into it, because if you cannot see by now that Assistant President Elon Musk is clearly running the show. If anyone who has eyes to see, all right, Trump is just a figurehead, and Elon Musk brought in 95, 96, almost 100, converts, Ashkenazi converts for Trump's support system, and I'm sure that they all have dual citizenship, and their allegiance is to Israel first. All right, so it's not America first for MAGA. MAGA has failed. MAGA has been duped. All right. It's Israel first, and they want this whole Greater Israel project, and the whole world knows that these people are not the biblical Israelites. The people over there in the land are Edomites, the same as the rabbis are calling out Europe, white Christians in Europe, white Christians in the West, in America, as being Esav, as being Esau. All right, Esav is what they call it, because they use this form of Hebrew, as you see on the screen, which is evidence of their fraud, because the house of David never used the Assyrian script. The house of David never went into the Assyrian captivity. The house of David always used the Phoenician script of Hebrew. All right, they used the Paleo. The reason that they use this, all right, and this is by extrapolation and a little bit of detective work. The reason that they use this is because too much ancient Paleo Hebrew, Phoenician Hebrew was found here in America among the natives. They're still having relics found with the ancient Paleo Phoenician Hebrew on it. Just recently, there was some more relics found in Puerto Rico, right? For all these clowns who out there, these BHIs, those and the people who subscribe to that madness. And often told you that there's been more Hebrew relics found among the natives of the Americas than it has been among Judah themselves. And most of that, those Hebrew relics have the ancient Phoenician or Paleo Hebrew on it. So these people are fraud, and they have been discovered. Right? The only thing that's keeping them afloat is the fact that they control the mainstream media. So all this is just, this isn't mainstream. Well, it is mainstream at this point, but not to the point where, they're just going to be forced to admit their lies. But we're definitely getting there. So I'm going to play a video, all right, after, because what's happening to the Palestinians is the same thing that happened to Jacob. It's basically the Israelis want to homestead at Palestine, as they did, all right, to Jacob here in America, right? The same Edomites, before they're creating generational wealth for Edomites, poverty and ghettos for reservations for Jake in America, and that's what they're trying to do to the Palestinians. Well, not trying, they're actually doing it. All right, so they're taking away any chance for them to have autonomous wealth and to be wealthy. At the same time, they're able to create wealth for their own when they have generational wealth where they can pass on. And this time, they want to set in the NWO, so even their own people are going to be under oppression. All right? So what's that scripture? He that is evil to himself But let me get Jeremiah 50 and 33. All right, because that Homestead Act was oppressive to both the natives of the Americas and the people who were forced into slavery here in America. All right, which was the Southern Kingdom, the house of David. This is Jeremiah 50 and 33. And it reads, "Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go." And there was a time and period too here in America in 1682. All right, in 1682 in Virginia, same where the native and the slaves were both referred to as Negro, were considered the same people. As a matter of fact, let me produce a receipt for that. All right, also in Virginia, in 1681 was where Edomites began to label themselves white, because prior to that there was no such thing as white people. They began to label themselves white. But let me find that receipt real quick. Yep. It says Virginia passed 2 acts in 1682 that combined Native Americans and Africans into one category as Negroes. All right, so remember, there's a lot of people running around today, and you see how similar they look? You got dark chocolate brown and a lighter shade of brown, just like the rap group out of California. Lighter shade of brown was cold too, boy. A lot of y'all don't know about them. All right, you need to go check them out. All right, but there you go. The Negro Indian, the slave trade Negro, they were considered the same people because they were. And Esau has tried to hide that history. All right, that the people who came over here on the slave ships were physically and blood related to the people who were already here. That's a fact, because they all came from the East. They all came from Western Asia originally. All right. The ones that they pulled out of Western Africa were fleeing Roman persecution. That was the house of Judah. All right. The northern kingdom went into the Assyrian captivity and left the Assyrian captivity and came to America on their own accord. And there's biblical evidence of that, but that's not what the lesson is about. So we're gonna keep it moving. Let me find this video. This old Edomite telling you about the Homestead Act. All right, which I've done lessons on many a times. Okay, trying to decide if I'm gonna keep this in my evidence library. I just might, but here we go. Let's turn it up.
That has become clear to me in Kendrick Lamar's performance last night is 40 acres and a mule. And that line is particularly potent for many Black Americans. And it happens to be a line that I remember from my education growing up in grade school in the Bronx. And I vaguely remember what it was about. It was something that was promised enslaved people. I can't remember whether I was told it was before or after emancipation, but it had to do with the Civil War. And I've since had my memory refreshed. And it was something that the federal government promised enslaved people that they would get, and it would help them get a head start. But as with many promises given to Native Americans, they didn't come through. And I never really equated 40 acres and a mule, because it was not something that really ever touched my life. But in thinking about it this morning, I never really equated it with something else that was very important to American life, which was the Homestead Act. Now, if you don't recall the Homestead Act, for some reason, there's a lot of American history that was that really stayed with me. And the Homestead Act was an act that the federal government felt was extremely important because they wanted to populate the Midwestern part of our country, the prairie. And so they offered 160 acres free and clear to people who would farm the land, ranch the land. I guess it was really only good for farming, but they would give free and clear 160 acres to people, and they had mapped out a huge swath of prairie land. And it was white people who took that land, and that's how a lot of our Midwest cities came into being.
Exactly.
And they didn't rescind that promise. They gave 160 acres to people free and clear. All they had to do was stake it out. And this may be apocryphal, but I seem to remember in class hearing how there was a date and they had people lining up and they set off a bell and you could just go and stake out your plot of land and it was yours and you could farm it. And that was the beginning of generational wealth for a lot of white people. A lot of these people came from Germany and Middle European countries, and they got a stake in this country. And here we have enslaved people who were brought over against their will and finally released from bondage and promised for their servitude they would be given 40 acres and a mule, and they got nothing. And they had to start from scratch.
They got absolutely nothing. All right. And they were the ones that built up the foundation, the structure, right, and made these people wealthy who brought over their own people from Germany and Europe. And we know what people came out of Germany. All right. And they were able to get the land and create generational wealth for themselves, for their children, while they had such a big head start. While Jacob was forced into reservations, all right, on their own damn land and put into ghettos. All right. That's the truth of the matter. This is a lamentation. And see, now the time is up. The payment for those crimes, or the payments for that wickedness. Because these Edomites prevented Jake from having autonomous wealth and generational wealth. All right, and then in the few that make it, they'll put the spotlight on them to make it seem like if you work hard, no, those are the people you push forward. So that you can keep the majority down, so they can have something to look to and have a false sense of hope. And to keep them from rebelling, actually. But this is Lamentation 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee, and thou shalt be drunken, and shall make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will destroy thy sins. All right. And Esau, Edom is being exposed and shamed every day, shameful spewing upon their glory. All right. And so the day of them living lavishly, that's coming to an end. Many Edomites are struggling. They're having a very hard time making it. Even those who have, the middle class is almost wiped out. Okay. This is Wisdom of Solomon 2:10, because they're getting ready to just make moves now because they know they have but a short time. But this is Wisdom of Solomon 2:10, and it reads, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found nothing worth. Therefore let us lie and wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. He is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending of the law, yes we do, and objective to our infamy, and the transgressions and transgressions of our education. Yeah, we're against you 100%, because you have made a strong stance to ensure that Jacob didn't achieve autonomous wealth, and every time they did, you came in and violently took it from them. All right, just like you took all the oil fields from the Gadites, and you took all those drowned towns and destroyed towns like Elaine, Arkansas, like the Black Belt here in Chicago, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then even there was one in I think it was in South Carolina. That was one of the greatest places that Jake built up. But like Apostle Elder Tahar said, you know, Jake built up all this wealth, but didn't have an army. And Esau came in and took that shit and tried to bury that history under the rug. And it wasn't until YouTube, all right, in 2000, you know, in the 2000s, or I think when did YouTube hit? About 2005, something like that. 2005, 2006. That the truth started coming out. People started posting stuff like this. This history was only, you know, shared among a very few people. All right, and was unknown. And now Esau acts like he's so hurt when it comes out because he doesn't want his children to hear about why they live in a nice neighborhood. Because it all goes back to the Homestead Act. All of it. That's the origin of it. Redlining and the Jim Crow laws and all that stuff that came later. The black codes was further pushed the persecution, but it all started with the Homestead Act, which allowed Edomites to get 160 acres. I reached, man, you know how big 160 acre is? That's where you get your Yellowstones. All them big, when you driving along the highway in the Midwestern states, and you see all those fields and with the gates around them, and you just see fields and fields of farmland and forest land and stuff. And it has no trespassing on it, because these murderous Edomites are living on stolen land, as the brother Yawana said, the beloved brother in Iowa. You know, he said, wherever you Edomites are, you're walking on stolen land, unless you take your red ass back to Mount Seir, because that's your home. That's where you belong. Mount Seir, Petra in Jordan. That's their home, the original home of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And I got receipts to prove that too. All right. So now let me go. Oh, wow. I won't be able to do it because unfortunately that recording is in the phone that I'm recording with. But I had a recording that my sister, which y'all use it later. I still get to use it. My sister left me a message, and in her message, she pretty much was telling me about how these are things that she saw recently, all right, and how she said, you've been telling me for years that this would come, but she was saying how she was in a Whole Food, and I forget where she said she was, but her grocery bill came to $502. And she also remembers when we were kids how we would get 2 carts of overflowing of food. You know, my mother would spend about $200 and we'd have 2 grocery carts overflowing with food. You know, we thought we was rich. You know, the way, you know, we lived in a big house. You know, we thought we was rich when we was little kids, because we saw how the rest of our people, and we were far from rich. You know, we were just doing a little bit better than most of the Jake around us. But we were far from rich, and but just remembering that, you know, and now you get a couple bags, you lucky you can even fill 1 cart, and it's more than double that now. All right. Then she went to the hood to go to a Save a Lot near her house. All right, not far from my house. So she don't even go to Save a Lot because of the quality of food, but she went there to see if she could save some money, and she said she was talking to the little Jake woman in front of her, and I don't even remember how the conversation started, but she said it's getting so rough out here, prices are so bad. She said they've already had 4 people come in the store and fill up their grocery carts and just walk out. And she said when the girl told her that, her heart dropped, because she said, you know, she was like, damn, my brother been saying that was going to happen. For years, my brother been telling me that that's going to happen. All right? And here we are. Right? We're moments away from insurrections. And the thing is that now this is happening to Esau. She said she was in Bedford Park, and this Polish lady, and she said, Polish people usually have money. You know, and she said, this Polish lady had a cart full of stuff, got up to the front and couldn't afford it. Picked out a few things she wanted, paid for those, and just walked out, leaving all the stuff on the counter. And the little Hispanic girl, another Hispanic girl, said she was mad when she just walked out, and my sister started putting the good lady stuff back in the cart to move it out of the way. And the girl said, she said, you shouldn't have to do that. She said, yeah, but she said, I'm in a hurry. You know, I just need to get out of here. So, and she said that, you know, it was just shocking to her to see her, because she looked like she was so well dressed and all that, and she couldn't even pay for her groceries. So the curses are now falling upon them, man. All right. So just as you see what's on the screen, how they're trying to homestead the Palestinians, homestead their land, drive them out and build up paradise and autonomous wealth for them. And it's not going to happen, because what this is going to do is draw the whole world into WW3. We're moments away from collapse here in the cities. Where they're going to, matter of fact, let me get a couple scriptures and close this out. First one is going to be Deuteronomy 30:7. Because that woman being embarrassed and couldn't pay for her groceries, that made my day. But this is Deuteronomy 30:7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and put them upon them, and put on them that hate thee. Yep, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. So the same curses that were upon us, all right, is falling upon Esau. And Esau's going to start just the same way these YNs be shooting and killing each other, going crazy. Edomites are starting to do that. I keep seeing story after story where Edomite women killed their children, man. All right? It's a lot of stories with Edomite women killing their own children, man. And this is going to come upon Esau, Edom. Double. Matter of fact, let's get that. Revelation 18:6. And it reads, reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. All right, because they got to pay for all this they have done. All right, there's no way around it. It's Colossians 3:25. One of the first precepts I ever learned from Elder Apostle Gabar. But it says, Colossians 3:25, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done, and there is no respect of persons. All right, so, you know, anybody thinking that these Edomites, you know, get to commit this murder, millions of people around the world, all right, and take millions of acres of land and create autonomous wealth for themselves while denying it from everyone else, you know, they're not going to get away with that. So with that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Kwam, Yasharala, Abad, Babal.